Greetings, my name is Mr.Bonesworths and welcome to Alone in the Dark Final Thoughts. So I've been playing a decent way into her part of the game, and so far, I'm not gonna lie, I expected something a bit different. I was hoping she would more focus on the asylum patients part, and not so much finding the monsters in Jeremy's mind. Finding different books, different puzzles. But it seems to be like I got one of the clues. The Alone in the Dark book from basically remembering the safe code right away. So I got to basically get a line saying, "Oh, I must be a genius." Basically making fun of me for basically possibly looking up the answer. So that's always neat. I say the only way you want to possibly play this as a different character is one, if you want different cutscenes. Like, right now it feels more personal when you play as her. Like, the characters know her more, it's less mysterious. It's like you have some familiarity with everyone, and they know you, you know them. Meanwhile, the detective is the outsider. He's not so much welcomed, but feels like some people don't welcome me as much. Dr. Graham, talk about you. But, I just wish it was more than that. Like, how did he figure out it was called? Like, a parallel thing? Like, RE2 kind of did this, while also doing the same things that this game's doing. Like, it had some of the same bosses, some same puzzles, but it also had some differences. You also would meet the characters up in different points. Like, I expected some new cutscenes playing as her, but they're all different so far, which is a disappointment of itself. Because remember when Hopper woke up in the bathtub? Before that, you were with Grace's dad in the car, and then you saw me, Emily, next in the passenger side. I was kind of hoping for a part where you'd see that happen. Like, you were in the Goat's world or Jeremy's mind type world, and you'd like interact that way. Like, you're both trying to come off to each other, like, not crazy, and finding out different pieces of the puzzle. Like, he's figuring that side out of the puzzle, I'm figuring out this side. But, hey. I should probably get to the parts I like about this game. And thoughts about it. The combat. I like. It's nothing too complicated. You've got your dodge, you got your sneaking, you got your switching of weapons, reload, environmental things that you can use with you or that can work against you. That type of stuff. The variety of enemies. So far, the toughest ones for me were definitely crawling guys because, well, you can't exactly aim straight down at your feet, and also they're fast and a small target. But if you hit them, they slide. The torso guys, the two bodies of one, those were probably my favorite because they're pretty decently tough. But also they had the mega design, which was, I hated that, but it's gross, so I liked it. That type of thing. Like, I hated because it was getting to me. The Vine guys, which I thought maybe that Grace's father was supposed to be represented in that way, like a Silent Hill type of situation, but no. That's just this, the roots, and made me start thinking, oh, maybe these aren't real. But when you start sewing up inside the real world and you use bullets, you find bullets, and the bullets are quite real, and you find a Tommy gun, it's not like, oh, the dark world, I should say. That is, I believe, a combination of half and half. Like, it's what the tree wants. Like, the Tommy gun's weird. You use that against the creature. I doubt there's a Tommy gun in the actual house for people to use. And has a ton of bullets. And the monsters that come out after are real, so they might have been roaming around the area and the halls, and maybe that's what you were killing. There's plenty of places like the rock by the clock or in the fireplace where they could have came out. But that would kind of not lead into the world itself being real. The only good concept for it to be the case is the Dogman. With the Dogman, you have the library section. I believe that's actually him. And some of the points after. Meanwhile, you have some points like towards the end when you lobotomize Jeremy. I think that's the tree messing with the detective's head and not actually like the Dogman. And then there's cases like things not being real, like the author. Like, he's the other side of the spectrum. Like, real is the monsters, the world itself, mostly. Midway, the Darkman, it kind of sways back in the story. It's real, and then it's Dr. Gray, which you promptly beat up. And then there's the author, which is not real, but can interact with everything else in a way. So basically, semi-real. I like that aspect of the game, like almost like it's an uncertainty of how this thing works. It's trying to be a little bit inconsistent, so you don't quite nail down any rules. Because one thing's for sure, that's a weird creature thing that has influence of humans, probably in some way of pheromones, if you want to go scientific way. Probably not. Probably its own little thing. Probably just magic. There's Jeremy. Interesting fella. I wish you probably learn more about him than anyone else in this character. Even the main characters. Jeremy's like the center of everything. It's honestly quite nice to get that type of perspective again. You don't honestly get that too much in games sometimes. Of course, there's things like Resident Evil where I know more about the Umbrella Corporation than I do about Raccoon City itself. From what the games tell me. Which leads me to my next point. I love the characters a lot. Was hoping this story would lead more, like her story we would learn more about them. Like the patience in them. Or even herself. So far, I've learned a bit more. But to ratio of what I was expecting, nah. It's a bit disappointing to see. But it's not a flaw of the game itself. I was expecting something that I kind of knew it wouldn't deliver. Ambulance, the environments, the music, just the vibe in general. I love it. Even the way people talk, even though sometimes it might feel a bit wooden, I think that's more of the hints I'm remembering being a bit But the child actor, pretty good with delivering their lines. I believe it's actually child, maybe it's not, maybe it's a lady voicing it. The old one. Ruth, love her accent. She's pretty in the eyes. Was interested in learning about the lawyer too. I didn't really get to learn much about the actual employees of the asylum. I think that's maybe something that fell short for me. I was like, I'm more interested into the patients than I am the Dr. Gray or the employees. Although Dr. Gray did get me a little bit interested towards the end when he seemed almost preemptive to basically what's going to happen to the little girl. Like, that gave him a little bit of a different view in my eyes. Sorry. Alcohol. It's getting to me. Oh look, she's all cleaned up now. I like that as well. When you get hurt, you can actually see the injuries on your body. Like, design, again, spectacular. If I were to rate this game overall, I'd probably give it a 7.5 or 8.2 out of 10. It kind of depends. I haven't fully completed. I haven't done the highest difficulty. I don't know how it scales, like, all the content that has to do with this game. So I'm kind of like teeter-tottering. Like, I'm becoming more fond of some parts of the game, and then looking back and just like, that's not the strongest suit. There's also the fact that a lot of the time I did spend in this game was sometimes just reading, like listening to the books or the optional stuff on the side, which is fine. I love story, but I wonder if that would turn people off from this game. Just like, there's barely any gameplay and it's just a lot of story. One, gameplay is fine. It's basically Resident Evil, Silent Hill type-esque. It's not going to be the end of the world. Puzzles. Love the puzzles. They may not do a good thing. One of them took me 7 minutes to complete. I timed it because I almost cut it out of the first episode. Hopefully, people didn't, like, leave that. And pretty much that's it. Other than talking about the ending a bit more. I feel bad for some of the characters that died. Like the one guy you meet at the corner shop. He seemed kind of nice. Did hold us down and almost let a little girl, like, get hanged and then eaten to, fed to a beast, but honestly, I'm not sure how much of that was him or being under the influence of this creature for so long. Ruth. I liked her. She, again, very pretty. Seemed like she was always interested in whatever you were talking about. Maybe that's just her personality. But honestly, vibe with her. Not bad. Dr. Gray, I found him starting to be a little bit interesting towards the end. See, he's a prick to this girl. Which, honestly, kind of be expected. He wasn't exactly the nicest to Detective either. He seemed like he was always hiding something. There's one more character that I wish I could have helped. There's the guy, Ruth. Glad Grace made it out. Who was the last? Maybe Dr. Gray. I honestly, if I could save those three, that would have been nice. If I had to save one of them, I'd probably save the guy at the shopkeep, because although we didn't talk to him much, he seemed like the most level-headed of the people. Also, just trying to be a decent fellow. Maybe Ruth. I don't know. There's one part thinking that Ruth probably didn't deserve it either. Like, she didn't actually do anything wrong, and was helpful almost even more than the other guy. Like in the case of the docs, she took us to that world. And she seems generally interested in what we're talking about and wants to talk. I don't know. I'm glad for the characters that did make it out. Obviously, Jeremy, poor fellow. Hopefully he can recover. And Grace, little girl, lost her dad. It might be a little crazy, but being out of here might help. I don't know. Being away from the whispering tree demon would do some good to someone. As for going with streamer of this, I'm honestly surprised how many people raid me and how many people actually came by to watch this. It was quite pleasant. It was the most talking, but just people just watching a good story. It was neat. But I will say that the game talks a lot. And it took a lot of my brain to actually figure out the puzzles. It's, again, good, but also not so good for commentary. I wish I could have done more. I enjoyed this experience so much. I'm glad to actually see some more work from the writer of Summer and see one of my actors deliver on part of the vision of the original game. Yes, the remake aspect. I haven't seen anything about the original game. Perhaps it's even better. Maybe I should check it out. I have to do some research if I'm going to do so. Because if I got the full experience, then there's no point. And I'll do it at a much later date then. But that's it for now. I'll see you on the oh, I should address there is a few bugs. I actually ran into another one while I was playing as her. A monster hit me on top of a chair. Thankfully, I was able to swing around rampantly. And when I was able to do that, I broke the chair underneath me. Can't do that now, but... And I was able to get free. I was like, great. Was really hoping it would not bug like that again, but... And I guess one more slight complaint is, you can get stun locked so easily. Say you stun them, but it feels like you get stunned for like twice as long. Like I hit one guy, but the other guy hit me, and before I recovered, the other guy got me. I was like, great. Death. So nice. And if you're wondering what part that was, it was with the shotguns again, because I didn't think it would activate right when I got this shotgun, right, because it was later part of the game where that happened. I was like, maybe it's on the same rails. No, it's a trigger. So, if you get the shotgun, get those guys. It's a package deal. For now, I'll see you on the flip side, and if there's any more thoughts about this game, I'll probably see it on some other video, but I think I did pretty well for this. Just stand in a room, try to explain my thoughts, give a good camera angle, give a few things to praise here and there, and some things to look at with a side eye. Well, anyway, again, see you on the flip side. Whee!